Welcome back to the Coaching Clubhouse with Adrian Last.
Hello and welcome into the Coaching Clubhouse. I'm Adrian and here we go with another episode and another guest in our podcast series. And one of the things I love about coaching is it often changes not just what we do, but how we think. We stop trying to have all the answers and instead we become much more curious about helping other people to discover theirs. Today's guest knows exactly what that journey feels like. Chris Goldson has spent more than 30 years helping some of the UK's biggest media brands to tell their stories, including the BBC, Virgin Radio, Absolute Radio, and ITV. More recently, he's trained as a coach with Barefoot Coaching, and it's given him a whole new perspective on confidence, communication, and helping people to find their voice. When we were going backwards and forwards before this podcast record, one phrase really stood out. He knows this, by the way. It really stood out. And that is how Chris describes his work by saying, I rescue brilliant people from being beige. I love that. We're going to get into it. We're going to unpack it all, see what it means. And we'll also explore the difference between teaching and coaching. Why confidence is often about the stories we tell ourselves and what all of us can do to show up a little more boldly. Thanks, Chris, for joining us today. I'm very much looking forward to this conversation.
I've been thinking of nothing else all month, Adrian, since you asked me. So
incredible.
I can't believe the moment has arrived.
That makes it's like Christmas, isn't it?
It's like Christmas in the hottest weather we've had all year. So yeah, it's very a good seasonal reference there.
Yes, good. Now, Chris, we've known each other for a lot of years, and I know a huge amount about you, but people listening to this and watching this won't. But you've got a long and very distinguished career in helping organisations tell their stories across 30 years. What was it that eventually led you to coaching? Tell us all about it.
Well, so I've worked for businesses for over 30 years, and my background's always been in media and advertising. So as a salesperson, I've always, even when I was in a marketing role, I still considered myself as a salesperson. Certainly marketing, getting a sales message out there. But I left ITV a couple of years ago and set up my own business, Goldilocks, which was not just about media. It was about the thing that I probably loved more than the industry that I was in, which was all about presenting and storytelling. That was the thing that I just absolutely loved, the pitches, convincing people of things. But what led me specifically to coaching is this is quite a scary place for lots of people. You know, the idea of public speaking, the idea of delivering a presentation scares people and certainly can get the nerves going. Some people love it, but for many it's not a place of happiness. Let's put it that way. And yet it's a really powerful space. It's a really privileged space to be in. You've got a chance to influence what people think and do. I suppose there's an element where you're commanding attention. It's very unnatural. You know, you're asking lots of people to be quiet and just concentrate on you. Yeah. There's a lot that's odd about it. And specifically the coaching part. So when I started, I spoke to a few people and I said, well, I'm a presentation coach. And I remember someone who is a coach said to me, what do you mean by coach, Chris? And I went, I coach people in presenting. Yeah. They went, yeah, what do you mean by coach? And they told me quite quickly that coaching is a thing. You can't just say, oh, I'm a coach. And they did it in a very nice way, but it just made me think, oh, I should probably, if I'm telling people I'm a coach, I should probably find out about it. And I spoke to some other friends of mine who are coaches. And the more I found out about it, the more I thought, do you know what? This could be a really important part of what I do, of my offer. And if I'm really serious about what I'm doing, I should explore coaching, and in fact I should probably study it. I want to be a coach. I want it to be part of my offering. So study it and bring it to what I do. And particularly as for those people who present and they find it a challenge, coaching is a great way to unpack that for them, because for a lot of people it can be very personal. And so what might help someone get on stage might be very different from what helps somebody else to get on stage. It's not a one person, a fix for everybody. So that coaching mindset has really brought another dimension to what I do. And that's how I got into it.
Oh, incredible. And what do you mean by coach?
Yeah, what do I mean? Well, the first thing I know, which actually is very good advice for anybody presenting, is it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about the client. It's about the person that you're coaching. And that was a revelation to me, because I thought if you're a coach, you've got to have all the answers.
Yeah.
And it's just the absolute, I don't need to tell you this, but it's the total opposite of that. The analogy what I'll bring into presenting and how it works for that is when people are presenting, and particularly if they're scared of that space, often they're making it about themselves. And one of the things that can help people is to get them to realize actually even presenting is not about you. It's about the audience.
Yeah.
What do you want the audience to think? What do you want them to learn? What do you want them to take away? So take the pressure off yourself. But what is coaching? For what I discovered is it's about giving people space to think. It's about being a partner for them. It's about guiding them. It's about the whole person. And what I love is, that so often in work we're delivering presentations about work issues and thought leadership and ideas and launching products or whatever, but it's deeply personal because you are that person standing in front of someone else. And it's that real blend of business and you, and actually so is coaching. That's what I learned, is you're coaching the whole person. And sometimes you might be talking about a work challenge or situation. Other times you're talking about what's going on for them in their personal life. But actually, of course, it's all connected.
Yeah.
So that's I think what I've found it to be. The other thing that I discovered coaching to be is I've been a salesperson for all of my career, and I thought, hey, I'm great at asking questions. And what I realized is I'm great at asking leading questions. So I'm really great at asking questions where I'm trying to get the answer to follow a certain path to, hey, presto, it's our product. What I really learned when I took the course last year was that's just not what you do. It's questions as a gift, as an offer, and let's see where they take it. And that was totally different. So that was a massive discovery for me about coaching.
Questions are really interesting, aren't they, in coaching? Because again, I remember when I did my training years ago, they were kind of saying, in fact, they gave us a list of 100 incredible questions to ask in coaching. But there was a different perspective I heard from somebody else recently, which is don't worry too much about trying to ask the most brilliant question. It's all about the active listening, and actually what questions can I ask to kind of challenge or evoke awareness. Really resonates with me what you said about questions, because in everyday life we don't really think too much about it. You kind of it's a natural part of conversation, but in coaching they become even more important.
And it's the attention that you give. It's not deciding in advance what you're going to. It's not an interview in a sense that we're going to go down this route. It's where are we going to go? And I heard I heard someone say, so another coach say, they don't ask. And I found this this for me is a goal, right? So this is not what I do, but this is a real goal, which is don't consider what you're going to ask until you've heard the last syllable of the last word of the last sentence that they say.
Okay, that's good
So
advice.
don't even go, well, I've got some questions stacked up that could, here's a cracker, I'll pull that one out. Just be there for them.
Yeah.
Be there for them. You're not serving anybody else. It's for them. So that listening, responding in the moment, that feels to me like the craft of being a coach. goodness me, it's a challenge, but and what is the right question anyway? I remember getting feedback from one of my tutors because I said, I didn't ask the right questions. And their question to me was, so what are the right questions, Chris?
Yeah.
And who's to say that those aren't the right questions? You are projecting what you think would be a helpful question to them. And in the end, I just try to, as we were also taught, dance in the moment, hold it lightly, just be curious. And actually, if a question has surfaced for me in my curiosity, yeah, maybe someone could ask a better question, but for me, that's kind of where I'm at. So let's see where that might take things. Have more trust. It's like trusting the Force, isn't it? It's like Luke Skywalker, when he puts the helmet on, he can't see anything, but you've got to let go and trust.
Yeah.
And letting go is quite hard, but it can be surprising.
Yeah. I'm finding myself wanting to hold on to your last syllable.
Oh, bless you. I'll keep it trailing. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the pause and actually us not saying anything might not work in the podcast format.
No, because people might think it's come to a natural end.
Yeah. So we might just lose people immediately. Yeah.
So I love your angle on coaching because presentation coaching over the year, having worked like you, worked a lot of years with a lot of people, the majority of people, it feels, don't like presenting. And well, I'm nervous, I hate it. You hear so much. So I'm really interested in how you're kind of working with your coaching clients on presentation coaching. But what have you found the difference to be between, I guess, teaching someone to present and coaching someone to present?
That's a very interesting question because I had a before and after. So I was doing training before I took the coaching course, and then I brought coaching principles to the workshops that I run. And what has changed is I invite the delegates to contribute so much more to the workshop than I probably did before. I think before I viewed it as teaching. I have the knowledge, I'm going to share. This is what works. This is how you should do it. And of course, look, I've got experience in this area, and I have got some thoughts about what works and techniques and skills. But what I suppose a realization that I came to from a coaching perspective is, whilst people might have no experience of presenting, or they don't enjoy it, or it's a space that a fear for some people. Actually, everybody is an expert at being a member of an audience, and so they have absolute expertise in knowing what good looks like, what it sounds like, what gets their attention, how to spot whether someone looks confident, whether they're engaging, at what point did you lose interest, if you had any. And that is rich information to help people realize that actually presenting is just the other side of that very same coin. Now, you've got to use skills, and there are things that you can do with people in terms of technique and body language and how you use your voice and also the structure of your story. So that's the stuff that I can teach. But what is most powerful is when I'm able to use the delegates in a workshop to actually give feedback to someone who's delivered, a 3-minute story, for example. Go to them first, right? What did we notice? What really worked? What did we think they did well? And what's moved on? That might be interesting. What if we did that a bit more? And suddenly it becomes a conversation rather than it becomes a lesson. And then I can add my view on it. I mean, often what I've done, particularly when I've been maybe out of a workshop scenario, but in a rehearsal for a big pitch, is we'll get everybody to feed into give feedback on each other. So there's knowledge in the room, and it's just about helping people see that they've got that. And then ideally they've said it all. Most powerful moment is when I go, I don't have anything to add because I think you've covered it. So I'll build on it if I can, but if I don't, actually that in itself is a good way to give people confidence to go, I don't need to say anything else here. So coaching, the knowledge is already there.
Yeah. And in your experience, when you're working with your clients on actually the presentation coaching, what do you see that really holds people back when they stand up to speak? Is it a lack of skill, or is it something a bit deeper than that?
Okay, skill can come into it, but it's not. And I think people see it as it's the main. Might see it as the main thing. I see it more about its confidence. It's about being bold. It is about being brave. It is a pressured space. There is a pressure about it. I definitely get that. Usually when you're stepping up, it's for a reason. It's a moment that matters. And so there's a pressure to that because there's probably a purpose behind it. And therefore there's an element of performance in both ways. There's a performance as in you are performing, but there's a performance as in there's a result that needs to come from it. And I think so there is pressure there, and that can challenge people's confidence. Sometimes that can be quite general, those challenges that maybe hold people back, but sometimes it can be very, very personal. So someone might believe absolutely they've got, in fact, I think everybody's got something to say, but there might be something that's quite personal that's really held them back from a previous experience. It might be a pitch that went really wrong, might be something that a boss said to them, or it might be something that happened to them when they were in a school play. And it just might have stayed with them throughout their life, and they've been telling themselves a story for all of that time, and that might be the stumbling block that they've had, and just goes, I can't do this. And then, again, that's another story that they tell themselves. But if you can get people to just make that first step and try it, even if they look nervous, I actually think sometimes that can actually have a positive effect, because it can look to the audience that despite their nerves, they've got up and said something. Or they look nervous. This means something. This actually matters to them. Nerves can be a sign that something matters. Then you can work on the skills. So skills, totally, of course, how you use your voice, how you use eye contact, how you can be in the moment and comfortable if something goes wrong, or how you bring in the audience in by asking them a question or a show of hands or whatever. So all of that stuff, those are more skills and techniques that you can learn, and the more you do that, the more confidence you would get. But I think at its heart, the most important thing is, or the way to get confident, is just by taking that extra step and giving it a go, and maybe starting to tell yourself a new story.
Yeah.
Again, there's a coaching aspect to that as well, I think.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I mean, without naming any names, is there a story or somebody that you've sort of got in mind who you've worked with on presentation coaching and the confidence that you talk about? Is there anybody that you can think of, and what actually shifted for them?
I've seen people transform. Okay, so I think one of the things is about helping people on a journey. So if I'm training with people, the expectation is that at the end of it, they're going to be this. I give them an identity of this amazing presenter who kind of steps out and shines with glory. If that's not where they are now, there's only so much you can do in 2 days. Okay. But what you can do is challenge people to see what they can do. If they can't do that, if they can't give a full keynote at a conference when they've never stepped on a stage before, I understand that that's the case. But what could they do? What could be the next step for them? And sometimes that might even be just asking them a question in the moment when they are standing in front of 7 or 8 colleagues, asking them, what would it feel like? Some of the coaching questions. What would it feel like if you had eye contact? Would that be something you could try? Or if you can't do that, what else could you do? Could you stand forward a little bit closer towards the audience? How would that feel? How could you grow your comfort? I mean, comfort zones can be physical when it comes to presenting. So you'll often get people who will stand right at the back of a, they'll, if they can, they'll have a lectern, or they'll have a script, and that is literally a comfort zone for them. Sorry, I might have disappeared there from the mic, but okay, that's good. But actually, for them to stand, what would it feel like if you stood nearer the front? And they might say that feels really uncomfortable. Now, then there's an opportunity to use the wisdom of the crowd. So, okay, that feels uncomfortable for them. Well, to the other delegates, how does that look though to us? Oh, it looks really confident. Looks like they are stepping forward. What happens if you smile? Could you smile? What do we think now? So maybe the next time, what would that be like if you smiled? Oh, I don't know if I could do that. What would happen if you tried? So they come out, they smile, ask the rest of the team, how did that look? Oh, it looked great. And suddenly you get this kind of evidence or this questioning. And I think through the process, you can get people to question themselves about the validity of the stories or the beliefs that they have built around what is a pressured space. I'm never going to tell people that it's not an important space. That's why this is so important to me, to train people in it. It's a very powerful space. It really matters. But if I can get people to challenge the stories that they've told themselves about it, and bring the other delegates on the journey to go, crikey, when you stepped forward and you smiled and just looked at us before you even said a word, the energy. And that's great feedback for someone who said, but it didn't feel like that. And then you can say, yeah, but that is how it came across. You might need to be uncomfortable with the feeling, but know that that is how you projected yourself. And then suddenly, oh, you've done that. Now what could you do? So I suppose it's, again, what the coaching has given me is a chance to see how I can maybe challenge a little wherever people are at, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting.
I hope it is, because otherwise,
well, it is. But the thing, there's so much in there. We sadly only have a limited amount of time, but we could easily talk about this for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
The thing that you said there about, you don't say to people it's not important, because it clearly is.
Yep.
That's one of many insights there for everybody, I think.
I love it when people just feel. So I now use the blob tree, which
what's that? What is?
My goodness, the blob tree.
Blob tree, right? Okay.
So we shared this. It's basically a tree, a drawing of a tree, and this was something that we used in the coaching course that we did. So it's basically line drawing of a tree, and lots of little blobby people sitting on branches, up the top looking out, others at the bottom of the tree looking up, some kind of like arms crossed and looking grumpy, others really having a great time swinging on ropes. And it can be used in coaching sessions to say, where are you at? Which of these blobs do you most resonate with? And that has been a great thing for me for the start of a coaching session, of a presentation course, to just go, where are you on that blob tree with coaching? With presenting. Where do you want to get to? And so we've got some kind of reference, and then at the end of it, and say, where are you now? Oh, interesting. And you were down there before. So there's a way. All I'm trying to do really is to show that they're on a journey.
Well, yeah, Chris, we were talking before this conversation, as we do, and you said that you've come up with a line that you really like that describes your business, which, if I'm quoting you correctly, is, I rescue people from being beige. And I I really like that line. As a marketer, you know, it's all about distinctiveness, isn't it? And amongst many things, but that feels really distinctive and really clear. Tell us more about what that means. What's the thinking behind it?
Yeah, I've been on a real journey with it, actually, Adrian. I mean, this is a very live thing for me. I've been doing this now for, I think it's about 20 months or so, and I've really taken some time to think, okay, what have I learned myself? And coaching now is part of what I do. What is my offer? What is it that I help people with? And so I've really tried to re-articulate what I do. And the theme that's run through everything, and the approach I want to take, is to help people move from the safe route, the seemingly safe route, which can often be who's got the deck, what's the PowerPoint, send me the slides, into how do you really stand out? How can you stand out from the competition? In fact, actually, just to a slight addition to that sentence, it's I rescue brilliant people from being beige. The idea being that pretty much everyone, they've got a really good strategy. They're really smart. They've got great technology. They've got great ideas and products. Yeah. And so is everybody else. So that capability gets you in the room, but it doesn't win it. And there's a moment where you are up against a competitor, for example, or you're doing the team talk, and it's a moment that matters. It's a human moment of connection, and how do you stand out? And the idea is that is the worst time for you to play it safe. All of that brilliance has got you there. The worst thing that you can do is blend in with everybody else and just do here's the agenda, here's the next slide, here's the next slide. Actually, you've got an opportunity to land something with impact that will be remembered even when you've left the room. And if it's in the form of a story, it stands a really good chance of traveling to other people. And so it's stand out, do something different, get noticed, be remembered. And that's when someone can take some action that you would want them to take. And I suppose the rescue part of that is it's a trap. I think it's a trap. The default is the trap of who's got the deck. Much more interesting to do something where people just go, God, that was the best I've seen them, or that's the best presentation of the day, or out of the 4 people that we've seen, they need to get the business. So from beige to bold, that's really what I'm helping people with, to see that at that last moment when it all counts, that's the time not to be safe, because actually that's the riskiest thing you can do. The best thing to do is go for it. And to give people the confidence to think, yeah, what could we do to make this moment do justice to all the other work that's got us here in the first place? And that's what it's about.
Wow.
Love it. So I'm on a mission. I mean, beige is for bathrooms. Okay, it's not for boardrooms. So that's my mission. I'm going to have merchandise made, tote bags, umbrellas, ban the beige. It's not good. No one's interested in it. Stand out.
Well, we've all been in the area of beige at various points, haven't we? And actually, it's a comfortable space, but it's not necessarily the best space.
It's an easy space. Actually, it's an acceptable space.
Yeah.
You know, a deck with bullet points and some imagery and the kind of here are our 4 pillars, and you know, all the smart art that PowerPoint can do for you. It's acceptable, but we are not asked. I think any business is really asked to be acceptable. We're asked to grow. We're asked to beat the competition. We're asked to outperform not just the competition, but last year's performance. So we've been asked to outperform ourselves. So the way that we deliver our messaging should also stand out. If we're being asked for outstanding performance, the way that we deliver should be stand out, and therefore it will be outstanding.
Totally agree.
That's where I'm coming from.
I'd like to buy one of your bags now.
Okay, well, they're free. They're free. I haven't actually made them yet, but yeah. They're not going to be beige. I'll tell you that. They won't be beige.
We've come to the end, Chris, unfortunately, but I usually end this with a question, really, which is roughly the same question. But what's one coaching question our listeners could ask themselves this week that might help them show up a little bit more confidently, do you think?
I think I said it earlier, and it is one of my personal, being in the moment and not stacking questions, but it is a question that I think is very powerful, which is, what could you do? I totally appreciate that that public speaking has a pressure to it. People will often hold themselves back from saying something that would be hugely valuable to other people in the room, whether that's delivering a presentation or it's asking a question or it's just sharing a perspective. It could be just in a meeting, but stepping forward to say something. And so it's not about, can you deliver a conference keynote, but it is asking the question, what could you do? If you can't step up and deliver a presentation at the front of the boardroom, what could you do? Could you at least ask a question? That might be the next step. So what is the step that gets you moving, as opposed to you're just staying where you are and depriving everybody else of the knowledge, the expertise, that question that potentially could have changed everything.
That's a lovely way to end.
I can't believe it's over, Adrian.
Well, it's these things
Can we
always.
Can we do an extended 2 hours?
Yeah, we can. We can do that. Yeah, absolutely. The extended mix.
The remix. Thank you so much.
How do people get in contact with you to find out more about what you can offer them?
Well, that would be wonderful. The business is called Goldilocks. It's a nickname that I had. So surname is Goldson. I've been called Goldilocks since I was 4, I think, on and off. But it's a name that's rooted in storytelling. And the power of 3, which is an amazing framework. 3 bowls, 3 bears, 3 chairs. So the business is Goldilocks. The website is Goldilocks-limited ltd.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn. That's my main channel. So yeah, Chris Goldson at Goldilocks Limited.
Brilliant. And we'll put those links in the show notes as well.
Amazing. I've loved chatting to you about this, Adrian. As you say, we've known each other for so many years, and we've often talked about specific projects. The chance to talk about something like this that I know has been such a big part of your life for years, and I've only just discovered in the last 12 months. It's just been a delight and a joy.
Well, it's the same for me as well, Chris. Thanks so much for joining me. I mean, I really wish you all the best with this, because you are definitely on something. And there are just so many of us that have to do presentations, not even presentations, meetings in front of people who this could absolutely benefit. And as I said, in fact, even in the last 2 weeks, I've had this conversation with somebody about actually how do I start things off in a meeting, because that's the real, for this particular person, was the most nervous part for them. So what you're offering and what the potential of that is limitless and exciting.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much. And that's what I love. It's the thing that I've always loved. So it's a privilege to get the chance to do that stuff. So yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Chris. See you soon.
See you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Big thanks again to Chris. I really enjoyed that conversation. As you could tell, there were so many ideas and stories we could have explored more with the luxury of time. But the thing that I'm going to take away is all about confidence here. And it's not necessarily about becoming a better presenter. It's about changing the story we tell ourselves and being prepared to take that next step, whatever that looks like. And I also loved Chris's coaching question, what could you do? It's such a simple question, but a really powerful one. And rather than worrying about delivering the perfect presentation, perhaps it really is just about asking the question, speaking up in the meeting, or taking that first small step forward. If you'd like to find out more about Chris and his work with Goldilocks, you'll find all the links in the show notes. And if you've enjoyed today's episode of the Coaching Clubhouse, then please do follow the podcast wherever you listen. Click subscribe on YouTube as well. Share it with someone that you think would enjoy the conversation. Let's get the message out there. Thanks again, Chris, for joining me. And thank you for listening to today's episode. I'll be back very soon with another guest.
The Coaching Clubhouse is produced by Adrian Last Coaching. Discover more on the website at adrianlast.co.uk.